Okay, welcome back. I hope you had a good lunch. I did. So what's the afternoon's program like? We're going to talk about presentation skills to help you prepare for your ignition elevator pitch. So I'm going to give some slides courtesy from Google. We got these a couple years back. So here I am in the enviable position again of presenting material that isn't originally from me. Okay, but before that, I want to give you some advice about your project. So last night we had quite a lot of people talk about projects. What's the project scope that they're trying to do? What type of technology they want to try? And there are lots of barriers that you might envision coming up with. So for example, you want to build some app for use in NUS. You are not sure whether NUS will give you the clearance to actually let that application be used by users, okay? Or you might be thinking, okay, I want to develop an iOS app, but iOS apps cost money to put up on the store, you know, in iTunes. And it's the same for Google. You want to develop a Google Play app, you have to pay money too. Okay, all those things you shouldn't consider right now, all right? So what I want you to do is when you build your project, you should be building a project for yourself first and foremost. That should be your immediate goal, okay? Do something that solves your problem. And when you need to get data for other things, let's say you want to, you know, pull data from another source, like say from NUS, Ivy or NUS mods, or you will need to get access to vehicle data from NUS buses, etc. All those things you should try to simulate first, okay? Meaning you just create a small database or a small table, show that if I was able to get this data, or else I was able to get this information, I would be able to do so much more, okay? Rather than, you know, go and ask permission from everyone and say, oh, I'm going to get all this permission, get all this data, and then start your project, right? It's like going to a bank and saying, you know, I already have some idea, I have a prototype to show, can you invest money in me to get it done, take a loan, okay? It's the same thing for asking permission from NUS or getting data from other places, all right? You have to come in with something that you can show that you've developed already in order to get access to that information, okay? So a lot of you, when you're scoping your projects, try to consider how to build it in such a way that's incremental. Start from something that's very small that you're pretty sure that within a month or 2 months' time you can complete pretty successfully, okay? If you're not sure, then set your sights small, talk with me, or talk with Wee-san, or talk with your advisors, or if you're taking a mentor, talk with your mentor to decide whether the project scope is right. We set you a whole month to do this, okay? The first milestone in May is just for ideation. It's not for anything else, okay? Because we realize a lot of you won't have the idea about what type of project you want to do or what scope it is. Okay, with that in mind, we'll go on to presentation skills because later in the afternoon you're going to be doing it yourself. So just to be clear about this, don't worry, for anyone who is camera shy, you will not be recorded, only your voice will be recorded. So you can come up to the stage here, you'll have to talk into the mic. Presenters have to come down and give their presentation. We would like both team members to come down if they're both present, and both team members to take a turn at the mic. So you can divide the presenting skills, okay? It's important for all of the people in Orbital to have a chance to present. Again, that is a pedagogical goal of this course, is to give you a chance, an opportunity, an obligation, if you will, to present, okay? So with that, Google had this program a couple years back, Grow Beyond Google. It was a course that they did in turn with Orbital to take some of the students who were interested in Google from Orbital and give them more practice, more enrichment. And you can see from the participation of the mentors last night, you know, the tech industry is really gunning for you. I mean, everyone is telling you that. You may not believe it, but really, we need a lot of people out there, and your skills will be outdated in the sense that the technical information that we'll be presenting is only good for a couple years, all right? You may hear your parents or whoever complaining that they have to do skills retraining. It's true, all right? But university and the fundamentals of things in software engineering, such as, for example, MVC, abstraction, those are always going to be around. They've been around for 50-odd years and they're not going anywhere. Okay. So you're going to be doing an elevator pitch, right? So I need you guys to be quiet for a second. Actually, more than a second, about 30 minutes. Okay. So you need to be able to present and engage your audience. Okay. Now there are going to be about 100 different teams coming up in both rooms. Okay. At least 50 or so. So you want to smash this, right? You want to say, we're going to be the best team. Everyone's going to clap for us, all right? So we want to be able to tell our story, engage the audience. Okay. Do you know what presentation this is? Anyone? It's a Mac presentation, right? There's this guy on the stage. Everyone knows his name, right? Steve Jobs, okay? And this is the MacBook Air, right? Debuted in your lifetime, right? 2008, okay? This is a very famous presentation. How many of you have seen this from Macworld or anything else? So, good, okay, one person all the way in the back, great. So we're gonna watch this presentation, and I'd like you to think about it not from the tech point of view, but the presentation style, okay? You might think, you know, most tech people are geeks, they don't know how to present, but that's not true. Presentation skills also take training, okay? You just have to do it enough times and you get better at it. You know, when I was in the secondary school, I took oral communication, that class that everybody dreads. I get a C in it. I hate going on stage. And you know, 20 years, 30 years later, I'm on the stage every day. It's terrible. Okay, so I want to show you this presentation from... Okay, so what we're going to do is I want you to analyze what types of moves he's doing as he's presenting the MacBook Air, okay? Let's see. Make sure we have enough time to do this. So we're going to jump a little bit.
The products are judged. Well, today we're introducing a third kind of notebook. It's called the MacBook Air. Now, what is MacBook Air? In a sentence, it's the world's thinnest notebook. So, what does that mean? Well, we went out and looked at all the thin notebooks out there. Most people think of these, the Sony TZ series. They're good notebooks, and they're thin. Right, this is what they look like. Side view there. We looked at all of them out there, kind of tried to distill the best of the breed of all of them. And, you know, they generally weigh about 3 pounds. They're, in this case, in the Sony's case, they're about 0.8 inches to 1.2 inches thin. They're wedge shaped. They compromise, though, to get the weight down on things like the display. They have an 11 or 12-inch display, most of them an 11. They also compromise on the keyboard. Instead of putting full-size keyboards in, they make miniature keyboards. And they don't run them as fast as they could because their thermal envelopes don't support faster processors. So we looked at this and we said, what do we like and what do we think is a compromise here? We think the weight's a good target, 3 pounds. But we think there's too much compromising to get there. Too much compromising on thickness, too much compromising on less than a full-size display, less than a full-size keyboard, and we think you could put even more performance in one of these products. So let's take a look at the thinness first. This is that Sony product. Again, one of the best in the field. 1.2 inches down to 0.8 inches. This is the MacBook Air. 0.76 inches down to an unprecedented 0.16 inches. Now I want to point something out here. The thickest part of the MacBook Air is still thinner than the thinnest part of the TZ series. Okay? We're talking thin here. So it's so thin, it even fits inside one of these envelopes that we've all seen float around the office. And so let me go ahead and show it to you now. This is it. Let me take it out here. This is the new MacBook Air, and you can get a feel for how thin it is. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Right?
Okay, so this product was launched in your lifetime. Something that a lot of you guys may actually own. But when it was first presented, it really caught a lot of waves because of how thin it was. But he was able to emphasize this very, very elegantly. And I'd like you to think about what he did to get the audience so enthusiastic about it. Okay, can anyone name any traits that he did in his presentation that made you focus on the product? Did he mention any numbers to you guys?
Do comparisons with lots of species.
So he did some comparisons, right? He did some comparisons to the Sony TZ series, right? Right? He told you how big they are in inches, right? But the way to bore people is to give numbers, right? You see a lot of numbers, like 50% of sales or whatever. But that's not what he did, right? He told you the numbers, but he also showed you them visually, right? He illustrated the profile of the notebook, right? This very simple illustrative technique made it very clear what he was talking about. And he said even the thickest part of the MacBook Air is thinner than the thinnest part of its competitor. He reversed the angle of the triangle and showed you that, right? So it's this type of analogy, just by using simple visuals with almost no clutter, almost no numbers, no technical detail, that impressed the audience, right? What else did he do? He does a lot of things quite well as a presenter, right? He travels on stage, he talks, he gestures, he makes pauses. All of those are really important in focusing the attention on you as a presenter, right? If you want to present without presenting, put a lot of things on your slides because no one will ever see you. They're like, huh? Who's that person who did that presentation? I didn't even see them. I was looking at the slide. A good presentation doesn't concentrate so much on the product, right? It concentrates on the idea and the presenter. Okay. So getting rid of clutter on slides is very important, right? Getting rid of extraneous words and being able to choose the pace at which you speak and pausing it well also makes a very good difference. What else did he do? So we heard about the analogy to the Sony TZ notebook, right? Anything else? How did he make another analogy? He made another analogy to something else, right? He said something that you see in the office every day. Right? What was that object? Envelope, right? An office envelope, one of those manila envelopes that you see here floating around. Right? That is something that everyone, who's an office worker can relate to, right? I mean, who cares whether it's 1 inch or not? I mean, I don't think in inches. I think about, thin, very thin, thick, or fat, right? But if you relate it to something that I understand and I relate with every day, okay, then it becomes immediately obvious what you mean by thin, right? To put something into a manila envelope, an inter-office envelope, it has to be pretty thin, right? You've all seen notebooks before 2005 or so. They're pretty thick, right? There's no way you could stuff that in an envelope, okay? So being able to relate it to an everyday object that everyone else could relate to, not something just technical, right? Because he's not trying to sell notebooks just to geeks. He's trying to sell everyone a notebook, right? By choosing an object that everyone can relate to, he immediately tells you how thin it is without actually telling you how thin it is, right? He doesn't have to repeat all those numbers. He just says, it's gonna fit in here. Let me show it to you, right? So he unwinds it, gives you the sense of anticipation, he slides it out, and there it is, right? So all of those things are presentation cues about how you can do your presentation effectively. Okay, so if you have time, I encourage you to watch a couple of these presentations by Steve Jobs, or when you watch any of your favorite lectures, like a lot of people watch TED videos. Anyone watch TED? TED? Yeah. TED videos are great. I mean, those are like bite-sized chunks of information. You just go to TED.com, have a lot of really interesting science and presentation skills. Those are extremely good speakers. They prepare very well for their presentation. I don't want you to watch them for the material. I want you to watch them to see how they do their presentation. Because by emulating what they do and practicing it through the types of presentations opportunities that you have in college, in the university, you get much better at this, all right? As I told you at the beginning of Orbital, our counterparts of the industry have always told us, NUS students are smart, they're great, but they can't present. Okay, we can get other students from other universities, they can present, but they have no idea what they're talking about. Okay, so you have the good background of knowing what you can talk about and just refining what you can say through your presentation practice. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the slides. So here you can see what he's doing. He's holding it up, he's showing you how light it is, and by doing that, he is creating a rapport with his audience. Okay, so there are 4 P's that you can practice, between now and 4:30 in the afternoon when you practice your delivery. Okay, some of it will go smoother than others because you've never been on this stage, probably, so it may not be so obvious how to do it. Okay. But you have to think about these 4 dimensions outside of your slide itself. Actually, the presentation that you give is more important than the slide, okay? So if you spend a lot of time doing your slide, spend even more time or more thought rehearsing and coming up with the pitch that you're going to do. Don't just come up here and say your name and then say, okay, I'm done, and go off. So by power, we mean how you can fluctuate in your voice, right? How you punctuate your voice. Pitch, pace, and pause. I think the last 2 are more important, okay? Especially if you're not a native speaker of English, you may find it a little bit hard to do all of these verbal communication skills, right? But pacing yourself, saying things and trying to enunciate properly will help a lot, okay? When people come on stage, they're typically a little bit nervous, and that's perfectly fine, but then you have to remember to slow down, okay? A novice presenter, one who lectures very infrequently, tends to rush through materials, okay? So when you are a novice, you have to remember that's the case, all right? And try to slow down. Even if you rehearsed and you say, oh, after I finish my pitch, it's gonna take me 1:30, I have to cut material, okay? Usually you find when you come on stage, you're able to finish and there's still 10 seconds left, all right? So slow down. Take your pauses. Don't, transfer the mic between the 2 of you by dropping it on the floor because you're rushing, okay? That is not a good sign, all right? So make sure you pace your pitch and pause appropriately in your vocal characteristics. So these 4 P's are all for your oral presentation, okay? So outside of oral presentation, channel of information, when you listen, you're only using your oral sense, right? You have your body language, right? And so some of the same things that you can do with your voice, you can also do with your body, right? You can cross your hands or stand behind a podium like I'm doing. All these things, they don't help very much, okay? So gesturing helps, showing your passion and energy through the zeal that's expressed on your face. Okay, that's also very useful. And making eye contact, specific eye contact, not sweeping side to side like this, that doesn't help anyone. Okay, but just picking out random spots in the audience, not focusing on any one person, but saying, okay, I'm going to look at this section of the room. Okay, I'm going to talk to you for a couple of seconds, right? And then walk around and then focus on this side of the room. Okay, I'm going to talk to this individual gentleman over here. Okay, and if you make eye contact in this direction, many times people will focus back on you. It's like, oh, he's talking to me. I better pay attention. Okay, so that is a good strategy in order to use your eyes efficiently and keep your eyes on the audience. If you're looking at your slide and talking like this all the time, no one's going to be paying attention to you. Okay? So even if you're a novice presenter and you're not confident about these things, you have to feign it. Okay? The more times you do it, the more it'll become natural to you. Okay? So go slowly. Even if you're nervous, if you go slowly, it'll look like you're confident. Okay? So, again, oral channel is only one piece of information that we get when we are listening to a presenter. In fact, there have been a lot of studies that show that, when you go to a lecture, by, like in this case, or any other type of event where there's somebody talking, people can judge whether they're going to be interested or bored by you within the first 10 seconds of the presentation. Like now I'm stuck with all these words here. Okay. But the important thing is, you can tell, aside from that, how you're going to like that person based on their body language, right? The tone of their voice and the body language carries much more significant weight because we are humans, all right? We worry about interpersonal contact wired in the brain. Our skills at understanding and synthesizing thoughts from languages is actually a much higher level of intelligence that doesn't compete with the rest of our body, which thinks about the core problems, right? Of whether this person is friendly or whether they're going to fight with you, etc. Okay, so the tone of your voice and body language carries a lot more expressive power in your presentation than words. Okay, so we're going to go on to the elevator pitch, right? So when you do an elevator pitch, basically what you have to do is come up here on stage and then tell us, basically in one sentence, what you are trying to say. Now, Steve Jobs did this in the presentation that we just heard. What was his elevator pitch? He said one sentence at the beginning. Do you remember what it was? Exact words, but what was he saying? What was he talking about? That was pretty much the only piece of text at the beginning of the lecture that he put on stage. Do you remember? He said, the world's thinnest notebook, right? He didn't say anything else. He didn't say about the processing power or the speed or anything else. He just wanted to impress you with that one dimension, because that was the thing that was going to be most outstanding about this product. Okay? So in your elevator pitch, you're trying to do the same thing. You're trying to distill what problem you're trying to solve by saying how important it is first. Okay, that's the first part, right? For target customer who has a certain need, right? There you're trying to motivate what problem you're trying to solve. Important, okay? This product that I am launching today, you are also privileged to hear about it, is some type of device or some type of website, some type of product that has one key benefit, right? What was that benefit? Thinness, right? I mean, it's sort of absurd if you think about it. Do you buy a notebook because it's thin, right? Maybe you buy it because it's light or it has strong processing power. But he wanted to sell you it because it was thin, okay? Now, unlike the fat competition, this product has this unique differentiation, okay? So you want to gear up and try to construct this sentence that you're going to present on stage. And all of the material should be ancillary or supporting this fact, okay? So that people, when they listen to your presentation, or you listen to yourself later on, you can say, okay, yeah, actually, I do remember what is the key part of my presentation. Okay, so you can do this. We're going to come back to this in a minute. I'm going to show you another video because YouTube is great. Okay, about how to construct an elevator pitch.
Here from platformuniversity.com, and I want to talk about how to create an elevator pitch. Now, you know you need one. You've heard of this before, but essentially, it's a short pitch on what your product, your brand, or your cause is all about. You want to be able to get this really succinct so that you can get your message across when you need it. Now, there's 3 benefits for having the right elevator pitch. Number 1 is it forces you to achieve clarity yourself. I can't tell you how many times people have come to me with some discombobulated, messy elevator pitch. They didn't even know what they were asking for. And it didn't serve them, and it wasted my time, and you don't want that. So an elevator pitch that's finely tuned forces you to get the clarity you need to sell your idea. Second reason is that it helps you understand your customer's perspective. When you try to get it tight and get a pitch that really communicates the essence of what you're trying to communicate, it forces you to get into the customer's head. What are their needs? What are their questions? What are their problems that you need to solve? So getting into their perspective is critically important. Third benefit to having an elevator pitch is that it enables you or gives you a tool to enroll the strategic partners you need to succeed. The truth is, if you've got an idea that's worth pursuing, you need help. You can't do it all yourself. You're going to have to enroll a lot of people in the process. An elevator pitch helps you get that idea across in a succinct, compelling way. And maybe, by the way, you're wondering where this whole idea of an elevator pitch came from. Well, the idea was that you're standing in an elevator with somebody important, you have this enormous opportunity, and you only have a few floors as the elevator is going up to pitch your idea and to get it across and to get the buy-in.
Michael Hyatt.
Yeah.
Big fan of yours, really big fan. Listen, I've got an idea for a movie. Well, actually, it'll start with a book, but then we can make a movie out of it. It's about music. I mean, it's everybody loves music, right? This is a story that's going to touch your heart, touch your soul. It's going to touch all over your body. It's going to be really, really great. What do you?
This is my floor. Can you believe that guy? He totally blew it. He had something that was obviously very important to him, but he couldn't make the case in a way that was clear or compelling. I want to teach you the 4 components of an elevator pitch so that you can connect and get your point across. Number 1, you've got to state the product and the category. Keep it simple, but make it clear. Number 2, you've got to describe the problem you're trying to solve. Number 3, you've got to focus on your proposed solution. And number 4, you've got to state the key benefit of your proposed solution. If you do that, if you nail all 4 components, you have a much better chance of a successful pitch.
Michael Hyatt.
Yeah.
Big fan of yours.
Awesome.
Listen, I'm writing a book. It's an inspirational book. It's called Cloudburst. It's about a young, talented musician, and he dreams of conducting symphonies. The only thing is, he can't read music. And because of this, no one in the music business will give him a break. But because of his hard work, his honesty, and his determination, he succeeds.
That could work.
Really?
I like it. Let's be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, if you want to learn how to grow your audience or increase your influence, join us at platformuniversity.com.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, so you heard it from me, you heard it from the video, so now I want you to spend some time writing your pitches, okay? So you're with your partner right now, right? Hopefully. So take 5 minutes now. Don't do your slides, don't do anything else. Focus on writing your pitch, okay? Present it to someone else sitting next to you, like the team sitting across from you, okay? Come up with that problem statement, okay? Observe, listen to how you pitch. Right now you're only writing the words, okay? But But as I showed you on a couple slides back, that's not the whole story at all. Okay, that's only maybe 1/10 of the story, right? How you present is also about your voice and your body language.
I'm not really sure. Yeah. So do I log into my phone?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, sure.
Hangouts on air.
On air.
Yep.
Okay.
Little part of those, yeah, it starts. You may need to install software things. Okay, so this will connect your post to both Google Plus and YouTube. If you don't want a message on there, you can unclick public.
Okay.
Okay.
But is it okay that
Yeah. It's up to you. If you don't mind it, it's there, or you can exit out. So if you exit out, you can just share it with me.
Sure, is it, okay.
So NUS Orbital 2016 in square brackets.
Okay. Perfect.
But it's not yet today, so
Okay, that's all right.
so yeah. Then I sent you the slides, the stack. Okay. Then how do I know my slides? Because on my NUS with immediately I don't have a detail of
Yeah, you'll be part of the other team. Because for unassociated teams.
Oh, okay. So I just sent you the slide.
Yeah.
I
I will acknowledge you. Yeah.
And my friend, he has some difficulty registered supposedly.
No.
There's a
As long as you have the NUS data.
I rather you try
So do I schedule?
So I think you can just do it.
I think that's how it is.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, just the simple touch
Okay.
Okay, sure, share. Do I start now? It's okay. Right?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you got to do all these things now. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Oh, Professor, do I need to do
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in a little while.
Oh, sorry.
After we finish, we'll transition.
Second thing, Professor, where would I
find the other advisors?
You can just call out.
I can just post on Slack, right?
Okay, great. So that was 5 minutes. So I hope you had a chance to practice and come up with a pitch sentence. Of course, we don't expect you to just come up here and do your pitch with just one sentence, right? So you can think about the other materials or things that you want to say about your group in order to finish off your ignition. All right, so when you do your ignition 1 minute pitch, what we're going to do is we're going to be recording it. It's going to go up to YouTube. All right, and then we're going to give you 1 minute offsets on your presentations, which you can then insert into your first deliverable. So at the end of the month, you have to produce a project readme and log. I'll go through how to do that at the very end of today. There'll be a place where you can put a video link to your proposal, and if it hasn't deviated a lot from what you present today, then you can use your ignition 1 minute section or half a minute, however long it takes to present, as your video link. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, we need 2 volunteers, 2 groups to volunteer to give their pitch. You're going to hear them again anyways, if you're in the same room as them, but I thought it's a good chance to have somebody pitch, okay? And like all the other sessions where Google has been sponsoring, we have a kind water bottle for you. This time they're blue, so if you like a blue water bottle, you can think about it, all right? So can I get a volunteer from the audience, maybe somebody from the middle section of the room? Any teams from the middle section, behind the projector, in front of the projector, beside the projector, who would like to give it a shot? Yeah, I realized that you have to present as a team. So actually we only need one group to present because I'm only giving away 2 water bottles. Okay, so anyone from the entire class, who would like to give it a shot? Okay, we have a daring couple here. All right, very good. Okay, so we'll see their slides later. Sir, your name?
I'm Chris.
Chris, and your partner is?
Mitchell.
Mitchell. Chris and Mitchell, everyone, 1 minute. Let's clap it up, please.
So the project that we are working on is an active to-do list that is mostly planned for students. And the way that it differentiates it from all the other to-do lists that are already out there, there's tons of them on the App Store already, is the word active. Because this one really supports you in all the tasks that you have to do. And I'm sure that a lot of you know that when you have to start a project, you have to write an essay that you're like feeling very inert and you don't want to start doing it. But then once you start writing the essay, then it's actually not too bad. So there's like a initial energy that is required that is a lot higher than the energy later on. And we are trying to really solve this, mostly by positive competition that we want to introduce. So maybe you got a small group of people that you're working with, maybe like in your class. And then when someone else has completed a task already, like let's say an essay, then you get a notification that they have completed this task already. And then you will feel very bad about yourself because you haven't started yet. And this is one of the ways that we try to encourage you to do your tasks. And the other one is motivational quotes inside the app that will be different depending on your mood. So you can put in your mood, and then depending on it, there will be different motivational quotes to get you started. And we really hope that this will help you organize your day.
Your friend?
So the app is actually called Pocket Mom, because like, so we're thinking of something like interesting to name it, and we thought of Pocket Mom because, you know, like, I guess like your mom will always tell you to do stuff, so yeah, so Pocket Mom, yeah. So thank you, that's from us, yeah.
Let's hear it for Darren and Mitchell. All right. Okay, so I'd like you to go in their style, you know, continue to refine your pitch, practice it yourself, okay? But we get started with the next technical presentation. How are we doing with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get them.
Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, you have your water bottles. Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break and then get started with the next presentation. So, do the bathroom break. This is the time to do it.